Hello, and welcome to another episode of AI in the Classroom Daily, podcast helping educators make sense of AI without the hype. I'm Dan Cogan-Drew, co-founder, chief academic officer here at Newsella, and I use AI as a thinking partner in preparing each of these episodes because I think the best way to talk honestly about AI in education is to work with it openly. So today, I want to set up something that we're going to dig into over the next few episodes. It's about what happens when teachers use AI to prep for class. Why it matters now at this moment when three major tech companies are racing to make it as easy as possible for you to do exactly that. So let's start with flashing back to the past school year. Think of a time when you used AI to prep for class. You might have generated a lesson. Maybe you drafted some discussion questions, some assessments, created an assignment. In one way or another, it probably saved you time, or at least that's what you were aiming for. And the question we want to ask today and carry forward in the next few episodes is, was the material better because you used AI? Or did it just happen faster? And increasingly, what are the consequences of faster production of material that may not be better? Right now, Google, Microsoft, and Anthropic all have purpose-built AI tools for education. Claude for Teachers just launched yesterday. It has integrations with Magic School, Brisk, and other LLM-powered productivity tools. The pitch is, I think, identical from all of them. Save yourself time as a teacher. Use AI to handle the heavy lifting. But there's research that raises a problem with that pitch. And we're going to walk through the implications of the research and the dynamics around increasing teacher productivity with the production of instructional materials. So let's start with a few things that we've heard in the last couple of weeks. One, a survey from over 13,000 Georgia teachers found that 95% of them use AI for lesson prep at least a few times a year. More than half use it weekly. This is already happening at scale. We're not talking about something that may happen in the future. These companies have been racing to optimize teacher workflow for some time, and it's clearly taking hold. What's interesting, though, as we look a little bit closer at this behavior, is some of the new research that's being published examining this exact dynamic. A randomized controlled trial, this is a real experimental research here, not just a survey, followed teachers who were given access to an AI tool to generate lessons. Over 10 weeks, researchers measured what happened to students. The results, I think, raise a question about the whole race to automate teacher prep work. Students in classrooms where teachers had easy access to AI-generated materials felt less motivated. They rated the classes less interesting and less enjoyable. Among students whose teachers were already struggling, test scores actually dropped. There's a clear pattern here that when teachers were using AI as a shortcut, when they grabbed output and just took it and went, students noticed and they cared. This isn't the first time we've heard references to students' reactions to their awareness that teachers are using AI to review their material, to review the student assignments, or to create new assignments. Students have awareness of this use and they react. So as these tools roll out and they're getting better integrated into this workflow, this motion matters. I don't think the question whether AI is good or bad for teachers is really the right question. I think it's the question that the research is telling us an answer to or suggesting an answer to. It's the conditions under which teachers are using it. Right now, we're building tools that I think are making the wrong use easier. So in the upcoming episodes, I'm going to dive into more of this research, the Georgia audit showing that most teachers are already using AI heavily, especially the Wharton study showing what it costs students when teachers are using the AI too passively. There's data on training gaps, especially in high poverty districts. So we're going to dive into all of it. We're also going to be taking a deeper look at Claude for Teachers and what these integrations actually mean, given what the research shows. I think the real question that we want to examine here is, will the race to win teachers through productivity optimization actually produce something good for students? Or will these tools make it easier to do what the research says harms learning? Perhaps phrased differently, what would it take if you're an administrator who is thinking about the implications of this when your teachers are already using these LLM tools to optimize their workflow? Or you're a teacher who's already using this. What would it take for this race, this concentration on optimizing teacher workflow? What would it take to produce something good for students? What are the conditions under which something good can be produced? What do you need to keep in mind if you're a teacher who's optimizing your workflow using one of these tools? What do you need to keep in mind if you're an administrator who knows that you have dozens, hundreds, thousands of teachers who are using these tools to optimize their workflow? What kinds of materials are going to lead to better student engagement and outcomes? And what kinds of materials are less likely to do so? So that's what we're going to dig into. Right now, I would love to know, as we are getting into this conversation, when you use AI to prep for class, what are you doing with what it generates? How much and where, to what extent are you revising it? Are you personalizing it, making it your own? Or do you sort of take it and go? If you're using it as it is, what's making you do that? If you step back and reflect on a time when you did that, because you don't always have to behave the same way with the materials, maybe one time you took it and went with it. What would characterize that time? Was it time pressure? Was it lack of training? Was it early in your process of using this? Have you done it 100 times? And if you think back to the first 10, your behavior around the use of the materials is different than it is now in your 100th. What has changed? What has matured? I think the answer to these questions is going to matter a great deal when we talk about what these tools actually mean for classrooms, because the tools are here, the workflow is being modified, being informed, being powered by these tools. And I don't think we have a very good grip yet on the guidelines and the guidance that teachers should be following when using these tools to create materials and put them in front of students. And this research points to some of the consequences for not having those guidelines, not having those habits of mind. So I would love to know your experience. Please share your comments. We read every one and respond. Thanks as always for listening to AI in the Classroom Daily. Tune in for our review of the research and the implications. We'll see you next time.